The road to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of twists and turns, detours, redirections, hills and valleys. So join us on the path to success as we explore people's personal journeys. Come be encouraged, informed, and empowered to reach your dreams. Hi, I'm Boris Pendergrass, and I thank you for joining us on the Path to Success podcast. I'm excited today because our guest today is Rick Beck, multiple decade software professional. And I have to confess, Rick is my former manager at Siebel Systems and Oracle. And Rick was key in getting me and preparing me for my promotions. So Rick, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you, Boris. Very happy to be with you.
So, I'd like to start our conversation with just part of my path to success. I was a pre-sales software professional. Our job is to communicate the value and the benefits of our software to potential customers. And, we really understand the technology, hands-on, we demonstrate it, we configure it. And I was working for your team and there was a promotion opportunity, right? Organization, one of our parallel teams was looking for a first level manager. And you were so key in preparing me. Hey, Boris, this is what the interview is going to look like. This is the kind of questions you'll be asked. You need to have your 30, 60, 90-day plan. So I want to start with that because, I think that was key and important. And just, talk about kind of your leadership and preparing me for my promotion. So, what drove you for that? Talk a little bit about that, Rick.
Yeah, I think part of it, and we had a great culture over at Siebel, the group we were in. That just came down from the top of management. There were high expectations in that group, but there was also, I think, just the culture of success and enablement and putting people in position to succeed. And preparation is a big part of that. So we were always encouraged to say, hey, what can we do to make things, more better for our people, and how can we prepare them to be successful? And there was a bit of a process for the management interviews, and our group was very much in line to say, look, we want to promote our people, we want to give them every opportunity. And I think as a manager, you succeed when your people succeed. And even in that group, it wasn't a matter of, oh, hey, we got to keep our people. We felt it was good to give someone every opportunity to succeed and be part of a great organization. So that was I think a very good time in both of our careers.
So you talked about that culture of preparation, right? And we were high performing individuals. We worked on challenging deals. We worked on high revenue, $1 million deals, $500,000 deals. So just in executing our job, we prepared, we dry run, we planned for potential challenges and obstacles. And I guess, that same culture, that same preparation and desire for excellence went over to, hey, well, if the next thing you're doing is going for the promotion, then those same best practices.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just I think we've all in our career worked for good organizations, better organizations, good managers, and I think like I said, it's a matter of enablement and putting people in the right position to succeed, helping them, coaching them as appropriate, and like I said, I think it worked out well for both of us.
That's great. Now so that was just thank you for playing a key part in my own growth and development and promotion. What about kind of your own self, I guess, in your career development, the teams that you were on, just kind of your own path and growth? Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we all have a different path, and mine was kind of a little different. A lot of times in technology, people start with a college degree. That wasn't my case. I was fortunate enough to grow up in Silicon Valley, kind of when things were booming in the 80s, and sort of got my start in small companies. Actually, when I was taking classes at a community college, there was a co-op program. Got involved with a small company. It was actually to come in the middle of the night and do backups and fill out enough time during the day to make my hours. And eventually I got hired on. And the small company is sometimes early in the career that can be good. You get exposed to a lot of different things. You get to try a lot of different challenges. So I was able to grow my technical skills going through that. And again, you get exposed to a lot of different management styles, and sometimes smaller companies, you have a little more responsibility. And that I think that really prepared me well. And then I was in IT at the time, and then had an opportunity to look into pre-sales. Somebody suggested, hey, you might be good in working with customers, and that was a it was an opportunity to try something new. And I think that's one of the things that's been good, is I've had chances to learn things, to grow both from a technical perspective and a professional perspective. I mean, it's obviously a lot different, having to present to people, having to be do the selling, not just education, and learning some of those skills. So that just and it was something that I kind of took to. I realized, hey, this is a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but it's a different challenge. And that's how I kind of started out. And again, worked for a smaller company, got to do not only just the selling piece, but you do a little training, you do a little implementation, and then got the opportunity to go to Siebel through an acquisition. And I think that's where we saw really this, how a high functioning organization could help and continue that growth.
So, question for you: that comment you said, someone thought you'd be great on the sales side. So I want to share my experience there, and then yours. So I was actually working for Bell Labs and AT&T. I was doing relational database design. We were creating database. I was writing SQL queries to extract billing information for AT&T, and then dropping that into a reporting tool, doing reports and kind of analytics. So I was on the tech side, and we were interfacing with the people who were the product managers, people who owned those specific services. So we were doing reports and charts. And then in that role, I moved from the hands-on tech guy to the more business analyst, interacting with our internal customer. So, I did that, I don't know, 5-6 years. Now I'm looking for new job opportunities. I was thinking about getting into Wall Street. And in interviewing, the recruiter said, you have good communication skills. You understand the technology. You may want to consider moving to the sales side. And I was like, well, it's an interview. I'm looking for a new job. Why not? And in that interview process is how I got to Oracle. What was your kind of conversation path, decision making? How did that happen for you, moving from the, behind the scenes IT guy to in front, talking to customers and selling to customers?
Yeah, well, part of the, when we were in IT, again, we were a small company. We were in the process of moving a data center. I mean, it was a pretty significant project. So there's some good skills that, always came in handy in my career, sort of project management. And then, also working with vendors and trying to say, hey, we got to buy some networking equipment. And I think it was just the interaction with some of those salespeople, and got a good relationship. And someone said, yeah, you probably be pretty good in something like this in a pre-sales role. You have the technical capability, you're organized, you have, good communication skills. And, it was kind of funny, something I hadn't really thought of, and kind of looked into it. And actually, they suggested a recruiter. And sometimes it's nice to have that sort of other perspective of somebody coming in and say, this is something that you could do. And they knew a good recruiter who was specialized in that space. It was a good time to get into that position. There were a lot of growth in software companies at the time, and that's sort of how I got started. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a small company I started with. Ended up actually working. Doing some business down in Latin America, so got exposure to a lot of different ways of doing things. And but smaller companies, and there's always the stability maybe isn't there on some of these, but on the other side, you have the opportunity sometimes to do things that maybe you wouldn't do in a larger company. But I think it prepared me when I came over, and there was a small company called Scopus, which was after about 6 months acquired by Siebel.
Is that the call center?
That was call center, yeah, back in the days of call center, and just as SFA was just starting. And again, when Siebel took over, that was an organization that was really prepped for success, and I think the management was outstanding. We still worked with a lot of people, again, some still there, some with other companies like yourself, but just a good group of people, and just culture of, look, we're gonna get the job done, and that was kind of whatever we need to be successful. Yeah. And that sort of energy is always kind of there. It's like, we're gonna make sure we do what we need to succeed. work as a team, and that's always more satisfying too when you have that sort of culture of not only are you succeeding, but the other people are succeeding. And it was a little intimidating at first. I mean, there were some very talented people, and but it was a motivational thing. It wasn't competitive from a negative standpoint. It was just leadership by example in a lot of ways. You saw how people were going about preparing and getting themselves better, and you couldn't help but do that yourself. So I think it's always something to be able to take a look at and saying, is this situation good for me? Am I getting the right growth opportunities? Am I learning things as I go through? And I've been fortunate that that's been the case in most of my career.
So I know when we were at Siebel, and I initially I was not on your team, right? I was in another organization, and that was really around late '90s, early 2000, right? We had Y2K, we had industry kind of go up and down, and I remember during that time I wasn't on your team, ESG, which was E-Business Strategic Group, Services
Enterprise
Group?
Solutions Group, I think was the original. I bring back some memories now.
Yeah, so I remember there were 2 layoffs, reduction in force, RIFs. I was safe in those layoffs, but your team didn't lose anybody. And I said, wow, that's impressive. What are these guys doing? I need to get on that team. And, one of the things that we're talking about is there an environment for growth, development, right? I mean, I had you in a management organization that says, how can we grow our people? And, I consciously said, wow, that's a great team to be on. Talk to me a little bit about you, because I know that in your career, you've looked at from a technology standpoint, or where's the industry going, that kind of as assessment of opportunities and different paths. Talk to me a little bit about you making those decisions in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the nice thing is, technology obviously never gets stale. I mean, you have to sort of keep up with things. And, just, a lot of times, like I said, there's some good things about working in smaller organizations. You get exposed to a lot of things, but in larger organizations too, there may be multiple opportunities. And I think it's just a matter of, companies start developing into new areas or technology changes. And it was always a chance to get in front of different capabilities. We started, going from a kind of Windows-based client to, web-based. And I was part of it. We had wizard groups. It's like, okay, well, let's learn how we do this, as the web. We started doing more over the web and less client server. It was a new chance to learn technologies, and you had to get some skills, and training was available. I think it's just a matter of seeing what you need. And then, like I said, in some larger companies, sometimes they provide that to you, but part of it was on yourself. It's like, hey, I've got to learn a little bit. I went and took an HTML course and learned a little bit about JavaScript, and just little things that, again, I'm not a web developer, but knowing those things just helped, and not only be able to do my job, but also relate to people on the other side. Is these are the things that they know. I can have conversations with them. I can be credible. It's always just a matter of kind of self-assessing and saying, hey, am I getting what I needed? And again, hopefully the organization is supportive of that. And I also think having coaches and having people to like I said, that if you see yourself in a group of high performers, learning from them and picking their brain, saying, hey, what do I need to get to that next step? And unfortunately, I've had the opportunity to do that. So it's been very, very satisfying, along the way.
I like that. You said having coaches, and me and you, we're both sports junkies. And I know you're a San Francisco Giants fan. And one last light, when you said that, it made me think about, the greatest athletes have coaches, have trainers. I mean, right now it's very popular, and it's made aware how LeBron James invested his technology and his taking care of himself, his trainers. Michael Jordan had trainers. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. You're a San Francisco Giant fan. Barry Bonds had a hitting coach. So having those coaches in your life also aligns with, I want to be better. I'm willing to take your feedback to improve myself, to be marketable, to be able to be credible. So I think that too, for us as individuals, is to be willing to do that, to grow ourselves, to never kind of just sit on our laurels. I think that's an important part.
Yeah, no, and I think too, as we get sort of later in our career, the opportunity to sort of give that back and help develop. And I think it's been very satisfying. I mean, it's obviously anytime, somebody that I work with has success, like, like and seeing, both of us kind of evolve through the industry. Again, I think it's just the culture of look, a rising tide, right? High tide rises all boats, right? That's,
Yes,
in fact, I think that was one of the things in ESG that,
it was.
and I think that's good, and it's something I've always tried to do, and where there's been a team where that's encouraged, that's always been a team I've been gravitated to, and I think it's just kind of always having that assessment and saying, okay, how is this working for me? Am I getting the opportunity to grow? Am I successful? And ultimately that gets to satisfaction. You're much more satisfied when you have the support of a team, and that you're challenged but yet being able to be successful.
So now, as we're kind of coming to the end, a conversation I wanted to have, and we mentioned it early in our career, later in our career, we have an audience, that's very diverse, and I know we have a lot of our audience who are still earlier in their career. And one of the conversations I want to talk about is, the path to success, right? Which is the title of this podcast. Is that success is unique. It's different for everyone. And there's so many factors on that. Most of the time we think of the monetary gain and the income that we can generate. And yeah, usually, the CEO, the VP, they're probably going to be the highest earners, right? But when you're talking about high performing individual contributors and that first and second level manager, the income levels are the same. They're very similar. So it's not just money that is the determining factor. There's the quality of life, there's the type of work that we do, the impact we have on other people. So I just want to have a little conversation about that, because both of us have been managers. Both of us are now currently individual contributors. Both of us have had the opportunity to go back on the management track. We've had the same directors and senior directors have said, hey guys, if you want to go on this management track, we'll support you. We'll take you through that. So just for you, what are some of those things that, are criteria for you for success? Again, both of us being managers and individual contributors. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think what's been good is, we've had the opportunity to kind of, see what we like about different roles and what motivates us. And I think that's the key is what gets you motivated. Because I think, if you're motivated, you just can't help but be successful, because you're going to have that drive. You're going to have that. You're going to wake up and saying, hey, this is great. What else can I do? How else can I grow in this role? You have to enjoy what you're doing. And sometimes it's a matter of, hey, trying some different things and, tackling some challenges and it's very satisfying at the end when you kind of say, hey, that was something I couldn't do 6 months ago or before. And again, for me, I think the management was a good experience, but it wasn't something I didn't see myself going, up. We've worked with people that have gone into, great roles and vice president roles and things like that. And then some of us have, said, hey, we want to be just really good individual contributors. I think, again, like you said, it's just a matter of what defines success to you. And sometimes, like I said, early in career, it wasn't, this isn't the, some people kind of say, okay, this is what I want to do. In some cases, it's like, well, let's see where this goes and what I like about this. And, I kind of found a path that said, this is what I really enjoy doing. The challenges are there and I can be successful at it. And that's been a good path for me.
As we have that conversation, a couple of things that pops to my mind in my own career. When I was at Oracle and a pre-sales engineer, and I was looking for a promotion, and it was a promotion opportunity, first time being a manager, to be part of the sales operation team. Right? That's the group that does the planning, the preparation, the training, the education of the sales and pre-sales team, but they're not in front of the customer. They're not doing the presentations and the demonstrations. So I had a manager, he actually was my director, a guy named George Bloom at Oracle. And I'm talking to George about, this promotion opportunity that I'm considering going for. And George said to me, he said, Boris, you have very good communication, people skills. he said, I really don't like to see people with that kind of talent come from in front of the customers and kind of behind. And, one of the things I realized is I enjoy that interaction with that customer. I enjoy traveling around the country, being on the national team, presenting, meeting different people, different challenges. So, that was a fun part of the job. I guess for you, what are some of those fun things in the job that you said, what, I like that type of work, want to keep doing that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny in some ways. I think maybe it's, call it short attention span. I like a diversity in things. I don't, having to do the same thing day after day just isn't something that appeals. And that's the nice thing about pre-sales, and especially maybe even a specialist role is, something comes up, they say, hey, we need your help to push this thing over the finish line, work on something, get something put together, put a presentation or demonstration together, and a week or two, and then, okay, what's next? What's the next thing? And it's just a matter of, again, I think as you get exposed to different things, you kind of find what your personality attracts you to. And it's, for me, it's, it's just, hey, I've got some variety. I get one thing done and then on to a new challenge. And then, each time we do it, it's like, okay, I've got to learn something new, there's always something new in this. And especially now, as we, work with cloud technology, the pace of innovation is so fast. Sometimes it's challenging to keep up, but it's gratifying because there's always something a little, new to be able to work with, and it doesn't get stale for me. And that's been something that I've enjoyed.
You made the comment about it doesn't get stale for you and what's motivating you. So I just rolled into a new company, new position over the last 4 or 5 months. And the VP, and you talk about being on the right teams, the VP picked up the phone about a week or two ago and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you still excited about being here? Do you think you've made the right decision? Do you still have that excitement and energy? And that's, what you said, you want to be in a place, in a job role where you're excited, you're motivated, you're happy to wake up and do your job, you're learning new things, you really enjoy what you're doing. Well, Rick, this has been awesome. And just our sharings today is going to be impactful for people in their career. I would like to just thank you for helping me on my path to success. And I'd like to thank you for contributing to the podcast and helping others on their path to success.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Boris.
Thank you.